Hey, what's up guys, Lord Sendo here, and in today's video we're going to be doing something completely different. We're going to be talking about Deepwoken concept art. So one thing that I didn't like about the Rogue Lineage community was that pretty much all the YouTube videos and form of medias was just ganking videos and progression. There's more to a game than just that. There's stuff like lore, history, community events and fan art. As well as doing the typical gameplay progression videos, I hope to use my channel as a platform to expand on these forms of media and try and get people to be more creative. I myself am not the most creative or artistic individual, but this man is. Just as I've been doing my fairy videos, he's been doing his concept art for a long time now. His stuff is really good and I think it's something that you guys should see, and I hope you're excited by it. His YouTube and Twitter accounts will be linked in the description, so go and check that out when you have time.
Hi guys, my name is RitoSeikatsu, but most people just call me Rito. And I draw Deepwoken concept arts whenever I can, like in my spare time. I do in my little sketchbook, and I just do it because I like the game and I find it really interesting. In the future, then I'll probably start doing them on my own channel, because I do have my own channel, but we're gonna do on Sendo's channel just to see how you guys like it. And yeah. Alright guys, so the first concept is this telescope which I've called Zyok's telescope, and I just made that name up. It doesn't really mean anything, but it was created by Zyok Walsingham, who was a curious wanderer, and he looked at the night sky when he was sailing and saw that there's different constellations and he wanted to know more about them.
As you can see from the image, the telescope is full of interior mirrors. And so at the end it has mirrors that stick out, and they have different symbols on them to represent the different constellations. These mirrors have different types of tips on the end of the mirrors, which help them reflect differently. So you can also turn the top of the mirror to switch between the different regions of the telescope, and the mirror's shaft and mid-piece also turns, which angles the interior mirrors in different directions. The different ends on the mirrors allow you to look at the different constellations, and there are 5, which are called Primo, Area, Fagon, Swena and Rivali. Alternatively, the telescope's top has a lid which has a dial, which is much easier to use and can also be used to better concentrate light through its gaps onto the mirrors. So the mirrors reflect the light 107 times, and the telescope is used by advanced sailors at sea to explore uncharted territory. The telescope's main body is made out of horizontal and vertical shafts. The vertical shaft has 3 magnifying glasses, which is made from heated sands that come from different regions. The different constellations reflect the land and sea that's under them, and they go as follows.
First, we have Primo, the moon constellation. Waters under this constellation are known for being in the moon's favour. As a result, they are very tranquil, making them calm to sail through. This is also like the calm belt from One Piece, where a lot of the sea beasts breed and basically live their life when they're not tormenting sailors. The next one is Aria, the star constellation, which is made out of stars. It's very confusing, I know, but all the stars make up a big star. And endeavors under these stars are usually successful. It's kind of like liquid luck from Harry Potter, but basically anything that happens under the constellation you will have more success in, which is really good if you're trying to do something really hard. So it's been dubbed the lucky star as a result. The next one is Rivali, the wind constellation, and under this is very strong winds, leading to hawks and eagles to fly here. This also been known as the bird constellation, but it goes by both names. The waters here are notorious for cyclones and whirlpools because of the strong winds, which cause a lot of natural disasters such as those. The next constellation is the Swena the Sun Constellation, and in this region clouds are very scarce. As a result, the sun beams down on sailors who are sailing at sea, so a lot of sailors have to take refuge underneath reefs in order to not get sunburned. In the night time, the moonlight is very strong, which also makes it hard to sleep if you're not covered under a roof or have a roof over your head. The last region, which is the most deadly, is called Fagon. This region is known to be the sailor's bane. It is where really dangerous sea monsters show up out of nowhere and literally crush sailors' boats and leave them to die at sea. This is the least discovered part of the ocean because it's so hard to go through and sail through. And as a result, it's known for having the most fierce beasts that people have never even seen before, but it also has a lot of treasures which have never been touched. The use and lore for this is that it was used at sea by very advanced telescopers and voyagers to see and track uncharted territory. These 5 constellations are the only constellations which have been found so far, but it is likely that there's many more because there are thousands of stars in the sky. They also fetch a high price on the market, as they are rare to come by and not many are crafted anymore. There is only a select few who have the knowledge and the skill to craft these telescopes left in the world of Deepwoken. So as a result, having one on your ship will let you navigate the waters really quickly and with lots of efficiency.
So just to reiterate, there's this shaft on the side which allows you to turn it, and you look through the telescope. The mirrors reflect the light, and they go through the different shafts at the top. And looking through each one will give you a different effect and lead you to different places.
Yeah. I also forgot to mention that it actually comes with another piece, the lid, and the lid just has a dial on it which has an orb at the top, and it has these bars which concentrate the light to hit the mirrors. So you'd put it literally on top. It has 4 screws, and the 4 screws you just twist it in and it stays firmly in place. And this way you can dial the top, and you can see it has the little markings, and as a result it helps concentrate, and you don't have to do all the messing around with the shafts and stuff if you have this lid, because of the screws it moves them all at once, which is really cool. But it also makes it really mechanical, so you have to make sure that the telescope doesn't get rusty, otherwise it won't work anymore. So it requires a lot of maintenance, but it's really worth it, as it's like one of the best telescopes in the world of Deepwoken.
Alright, now time for the next concept art, the lightning longbow. So I was actually imagining some stuff about Deepwoken, and I just brainstormed some ideas about possible ritual spells. And one of the things that came to mind was what if someone had a ritual spell which allowed them to charge a flame arrow from a spiritual bow, and they could use it on enemy ships and set them aflame. Rito's lightning longbow weapon concept is a different thing, but it's very similar in the fact that it's a weapon that's augmented by the user's elemental powers.
Yeah. So this longbow, actually, fun fact which I didn't write down, but the reason why it has so many pointy arrows is because lightning is really unpredictable and is hard to guide. These points on the end of the longbow make sure that the lightning doesn't hit the user, so they're pointed away from him. As a result, any excess lightning that is generated acts more like a kind of like a deterrent to keep people away without hitting the user, which is just a nice little side effect. The Aether charged into the arrow from the bow is guided at a point. The logo, which represents the element, so in this case is a lightning logo, glows when it's fully charged, so that's how you know. It also has flaps on the side, which can be used to turn the arrow midway. This turning honestly depends on the types of flaps you have. The bigger the flaps, the more better it can turn, but when they're open, it will move slower because of air resistance. But they always close, so then it regains its speed, because these flaps can open and close. The arrow is also charged up through many different points throughout the bow, where lightning is concentrated and then put into the arrow. As a result, this is how it's charged into the core, Aether core in the arrow itself. The final charge point is guided at the tip of the arrow. There are 2 huge gaps here, which have I don't know what you call these, but they have basically, it's concentrated a lot right there, and is at the point of the arrow, so when it's shot off, the charge is carried by the tip of the arrow, and that's the part that impacts your enemies when they get hit. Additionally, it has 2 open gaps in the side where there's a lot of electricity being charged. This is where the electricity which is charged into the entry points, so the 2 points where it's charged, this is where it's basically gathered up to be charged into the arrow. The reason why the arrow has to be sent through 2 initial charging points before hitting the 3rd most powerful one is because if it hits the 3rd most powerful one without being built up to charge in the first 2, the voltage will cause the arrow to explode due to having too much current. These arrows are really hard to come by as they have a lot of craftsmanship, so they're often retrieved after shot. These can hold up to 10 arrows because they are quite heavy because of all their parts. And if they're not properly maintained, they will also get quite rusty, so you need to make sure you maintain them. But because of the Aether, so it depends on the type of magic you have, but lightning magic, for example, it powers itself, so you don't really need a power source. The arrows must be stored separately from the bow, because if you store them with the bow, there's a risk that the Aether from the arrows might charge into the bow and cause the arrows to explode, so it's very risky. So it's advised that you carry your arrows in some type of pouch or whatever the things that you carry your arrows in. I forgot the name.
Quiver.
And quiver, yeah. This is a lightning version of it, but this can also be made into a fire longbow, etc, where there's 3 charging points, and then the last one is the big one where it carries it on the tip. For example, if you had wind, then wind would be gathered at these points instead of lightning, fire, and so on. And yeah, you guys get the idea.
Yeah, so Deepwoken doesn't really have any true range weapons. It has the guns and the flintlocks, but those are more like melee weapons but reskinned. They pretty much are the same thing. So this would be like the first version of that, a true range weapon. But it's niche in the sense that obviously bows have to be aimed and you have to be precise with them, or it's going to be pretty bad. And I assume that this can also be like dodged by the same mechanic that Nano was referring to. So it has some obvious downsides, but if you do land a hit, then it's going to do a lot of damage because it's infused with the element of your choice.
One other thing to add is that in this example, the points are very sharp because it's an electric lightning longbow. But if it was wind, for example, they'd be curved. If it was fire, it would be wavy, etc., etc. Because the different elements flow differently. Because lightning is quick, it moves in straight lines and it's unpredictable. Whereas wind moves in flows around and curves and whatnot. So essentially, it would be, the exterior would be a bit different depending on your element, but the interior would remain mostly the same with the free charging points and whatnot. So yeah guys, thank you to Lord Sender for having me. This is really cool. I probably do more on my channel if you guys like this. Hopefully links in the description, and I'll probably put Sendo on to do a video, like a theory video on my channel, because we're gonna do a little collab. So yeah, thank you guys for watching. My name is Rito, and I'll talk to you guys later.
Yeah, thank you guys for watching this. I'm glad you stayed to the end. I know it's something new and something that other people don't really pay much attention to, but I do believe that the community can benefit from more artistic-minded individuals. If you appreciate Rito's art, then go and subscribe to this channel. The link will be in the description and in the pinned comments. Thank you guys for watching, and I will see you in the next one. Peace out.